Ladies and gentlemen, coin hunters and treasure seekers, welcome back to Rare Coin Secrets USA, the place where everyday pocket change transforms into jaw-dropping fortune stories. Today, we are diving deep into the world of wheat pennies, those tiny copper legends of American history that hide staggering secrets in plain sight. And trust me, what you are about to witness in this video is not ordinary. We're not talking about a few dollars here and there. We're talking about coins so rare, so shocking in their value that owning just one could change the entire story of your financial future. These coins are like buried treasure that somehow escaped the ground and ended up in the hands of only the luckiest few. So stay with me until the very end, because each coin we reveal will take you one step deeper into the mystery, one step closer to understanding why collectors across America and around the world are losing their breath at auction houses. You'll feel the suspense growing as we count down from the first to the last, and I promise you the final coin will leave you absolutely stunned. And remember, this isn't fiction. This isn't a dream. This is the real market, today's auctions, real collectors, and real dollars, and the values are climbing higher and higher every single day. Now, let's unlock the vault of secrets and begin with the first coin on our list. Imagine this. The year is 1943. The world is in the midst of World War II, a time when every ounce of copper in America was being pulled into the war effort. Ammunition, shells, wiring, copper was in such demand that the U.S. Mint had to switch from making pennies out of copper to producing them in steel coated with zinc. But here's where the story takes a mysterious turn. While nearly all 1943 pennies were struck in steel, a handful of coins were accidentally produced in copper. They slipped through the cracks, unnoticed, only to reappear decades later in the most unlikely of places, in change jars, in dusty drawers, in old family collections. And here's where it gets even more spine-chilling. Many of these coins don't look shiny or glamorous. Some appear dirty, aged, almost worthless to the untrained eye. Yet beneath that humble appearance lies a treasure so rare, so powerful in collector circles, that it has become the stuff of legend. Now, let's talk about the unique features. The 1943 wheat penny without a mint mark, especially in its original and dirty circulated look, carries the mark of authenticity that collectors crave. That dull, aged tone isn't a weakness, it's proof that this coin lived through history, passed through countless hands, and survived generations untouched by the spotlight. Its composition, unlike the steel pennies of that year, remains pure copper, an error born of transition and chaos during wartime. This rarity fuels collector demand to levels that boggle the mind. Every serious coin hunter dreams of discovering a 1943 copper wheat penny because its very existence challenges the ordinary. Think about it. Millions of steel pennies were made, but only a handful of these copper survivors are known to exist. That's the definition of ultra rare. Now hold your breath, because here is where the suspense explodes. One of these coins, in the very condition I described, not a polished museum piece, but a humble, dirty, circulated survivor, has commanded a staggering $80,500 in today's auction market. Yes, you heard that correctly. $80,500. That's not a coin, that's a hidden treasure chest compressed into a single piece of copper. And this isn't a one-time wonder. The value of this coin is climbing steadily, year after year. It's not fiction, it's fact. The market is alive, collectors are hunting, and every single day the price is proving itself to be a rocket aimed at the stars. Owning this coin is like holding a fortune in your palm, a fortune that grows with every sunrise. So what is the tip for collectors here? Never overlook the ordinary. That dirty, unimpressive penny in your drawer might just be the key to unlocking wealth you never imagined. Study the details, learn the history, and always keep your eyes sharp when looking at coins from 1943. The difference between steel and copper could be the difference between nothing and a life-changing treasure. And in conclusion for this coin, let me tell you, this 1943 wheat penny without a mint mark is not just a coin, it's a symbol. A symbol of survival, of rarity, of hidden riches waiting to be discovered. Owning one means you don't just collect history, you hold history's treasure chest in your hand. Now, that's only coin number one on our list. If this is where we begin, can you even imagine where we are headed next? Stay with me, because the next coin on our countdown carries secrets that will make your heart race even faster. Now, buckle up, because the mystery only deepens as we move to our second coin on this shocking list. And this one? Oh, this one has a twist that shakes collectors to their core. We are still in the pivotal year of 1943. America is fighting World War II with every ounce of strength, and the U.S. Mint is still pulling copper from every corner to support the war effort. To conserve resources, pennies were produced in zinc-coated steel. But then, like a whisper of fate, a handful of copper planchets, the blank discs intended for pennies, were left behind at the Denver Mint. And when those planchets slid into the presses, they created something the world was never supposed to see. The result? The 1943 D wheat penny struck in copper. It carries the small but powerful letter D beneath the date, marking its origin in Denver. But that tiny mint mark is more than just a letter. It is a symbol of power, a badge of extreme rarity, and a signal that you may be looking at one of the most valuable coins ever created in the United States. History. Let's explore its unique features. Unlike the common steel pennies of 1943, the copper composition of this coin makes it instantly recognizable to trained eyes. The rich, warm brown and red tones of copper, enhanced by decades of preservation, separate it from the silvery steel strikes of that same year. And when found in extra fine condition, sharp details in Lincoln's portrait, clean wheat stalks on the reverse, and only slight signs of circulation, it becomes a masterpiece. A coin in this condition almost looks like it defied time itself, keeping its beauty intact through more than 80 years of history. Now, here's where things get electrifying. Collectors know that the Denver Mint made far fewer of these accidental copper strikes compared to Philadelphia. That scarcity makes the 1943 D one of the most coveted coins in the world. To hold one in your hands is to hold the crown jewel of wheat pennies, a piece that every serious numismatist dreams about but few will ever touch. And here's the moment you've been waiting for, the shocking truth about its value. In today's fast-moving auction market, a 1943 D wheat penny in extra fine condition has fetched a jaw-dropping $90,800. That's not a coin, that's a gold mine disguised as a penny. Imagine one small piece of copper commanding a value like that. This is the kind of find that doesn't just surprise you, it changes your life. It's like having a hidden fortune in your pocket, one that can turn into real-world wealth the moment it enters an auction room. And let me be crystal clear, this isn't just hype. The demand for this coin is exploding. The market value is climbing day after day, and serious collectors are competing fiercely for the chance to own this legendary piece. Owning a 1943 D wheat penny is like owning the keys to a treasure vault, a vault that keeps growing richer with every passing year. So here's my tip to all collectors watching right now. Never underestimate the power of the mint mark. The tiny D under the date is the difference between an ordinary coin worth pennies and a life-changing treasure worth nearly 6 figures. When you are hunting wheat pennies from 1943, always inspect carefully. Use a magnifier, study the weight, look at the composition. That D mint mark might just turn your small discovery into a treasure chest. And here's the conclusion for this coin. The 1943 D wheat penny in extra fine condition is not just rare, it is mythical. It's a legend that walked out of the Denver Mint by accident and became one of the most desirable coins in American history. Its value is surging like a tidal wave, and owning one means you are not just a collector, you are the guardian of a true national treasure. So if you thought the first coin was incredible, just wait. Because the deeper we go into this countdown, the more shocking, the more unbelievable, and the more thrilling these discoveries become. The next coin on our list will make your pulse quicken even more. Stay with me because the secrets of rare wheat pennies have only begun to unfold. Now, collectors, take a deep breath because we are stepping into even rarer territory, a coin so elusive that most treasure hunters only whisper about it. If you thought the 1943 Philadelphia and Denver Mint errors were spectacular, then brace yourself, because the San Francisco Mint's creation is in a league of its own. We're still in that legendary year, 1943. Wartime urgency was reshaping every corner of American life. Steel replaced copper in everyday coinage, a bold move that symbolized the sacrifice of civilians for the greater cause of victory overseas. And yet, despite all the precision and planning of the United States, fate had its own design. A few copper blanks slipped into the presses at the San Francisco Mint, and when they were struck, they gave birth to one of the most astonishing coins in American history. the 1943 wheat penny struck in copper. What makes this coin truly electrifying is the tiny S mint mark under the date. That single letter, so small you might miss it if you're not paying attention, transforms this coin from rare to almost mythical. It tells you this coin came from the San Francisco Mint, the smallest production facility of the three major mints at the time. And with fewer copper planchets slipping through in San Francisco than anywhere else, this coin instantly became a legend among collectors. Now picture this coin in extra fine condition. Lincoln's portrait is still sharp, the wheat stalks on the reverse remain bold, and only faint whispers of circulation touch its surface. The warm copper glow of this coin, unmatched by the gray steel pennies of that year, makes it stand out like a ruby among stones. It is history preserved, beauty locked in time, and rarity magnified to an almost impossible degree. Collectors around the world know that the 1943 S is not just a coin, it's a key to a secret vault. It represents the smallest surviving population of all the 1943 copper errors, and that scarcity is what drives collectors into a frenzy. Each time one surfaces at auction, the room goes silent, then explodes into bidding wars as fortunes are laid on the table for the chance to own it. And here's where the suspense hits its peak. One of these 1943 wheat pennies in extra fine condition has shattered expectations by commanding an earth-shaking $108,000 in the auction market. Yes, $108,000 for a single penny. Let that sink in. This is not just a collectible. This is a treasure chest in miniature, a piece of American history that carries a value equal to a staggering fortune. And don't think for a second that this is the end of its climb. The value of this coin isn't just holding steady, it's rising. Day by day, year by year, the demand grows, the prices soar, and the legend becomes bigger. This is no fiction. This is the living truth of today's collector market. If you were to find this coin, you wouldn't just have wealth, you would have a treasure that grows richer every time it changes hands. So here's my tip for collectors. Study your 1943 pennies with an eagle's eye. Look for that small S beneath the date. If you find a coin that looks copper instead of steel, weigh it, test it, examine it carefully because that little S could be the most valuable letter you've ever seen. And remember, condition is everything. Extra fine means extra fortune. In conclusion, the 1943 wheat penny in extra fine condition is the crown jewel of wartime coinage. It is rarer, more powerful, and more valuable than almost any wheat penny in existence. To own one is to hold a piece of treasure that even seasoned collectors dream of, but rarely ever see in their lifetime. Its value is not just monetary, it's legendary. It's proof that even in the darkest days of history, miracles of fortune were still being created. And let me tell you this, if you thought $108,000 was the peak, you haven't seen anything yet. Because the deeper we go into this list, the more shocking the values become, and the more thrilling the stories grow. Stay with me because the coins ahead will make your heart race faster than ever before. Here we are again in the unforgettable year of 1943, but this time, the story grows even more fascinating. We've already seen how rare and powerful the copper pennies of this wartime year can be, but the coin we're about to uncover carries with it a mix of history, mystery, and raw collector demand that is absolutely breathtaking. This one comes to us from the Philadelphia Mint, the heart of America's coin production. Now, Philadelphia coins do not carry a mint mark, so when you see a 1943 penny with no letter under the date, you are looking at a product of the nation's oldest and largest mint. Most of those coins were struck in zinc-coated steel, glittering in silvery tones that marked the wartime sacrifice of copper. Millions were made, and most collectors know them well. But here's where history threw us a curveball. A tiny number of copper planchets, blanks left over from 1942, accidentally slipped into the presses in Philadelphia. And instead of steel, the result was pure copper wheat pennies dated 1943 with no mint mark. Think about that. A year defined by steel pennies, yet a handful emerged in copper. These survivors became legends. Now, imagine finding one in extra fine condition. That means the coin still holds sharp definition in Lincoln's face, the details of his hair, and the lettering is bold. The wheat stalks on the back remain crisp, the edges show only slight wear, and the coin still radiates that rich copper glow that immediately separates it from the common steel versions. This is no ordinary coin. It's a piece of living history that looks as though it was waiting to be discovered by someone who truly understands its value. Collectors know this coin well. The 1943 copper penny without a mint mark has become one of the most desired pieces in all of numismatics. Why? Because Philadelphia, unlike Denver or San Francisco, produced the highest number of coins overall, but only a tiny sliver of copper coins from this year escaped the presses. That contradiction, massive production overall, yet minuscule survival of copper errors, makes it one of the most dramatic rarities of them all. Now, let's talk about what this rarity means in the modern auction world. One of these incredible coins in extra fine condition recently shocked the market by selling for $85,000. Yes, $85,000 for a single penny. It sounds unbelievable, almost unreal, but it is the plain truth. That's the power of rarity. That's the power of history. And that is exactly why collectors chase this coin with such passion. And let me assure you, this isn't a number frozen in time. The value of this coin is climbing steadily. The demand is fierce, and the market is alive with energy. Each time one appears at auction, bidding wars erupt. Collectors know that this is not just a coin, it's a fortune compressed into copper, a treasure chest hiding in plain sight. And the trend is undeniable. The longer you hold it, the more powerful its value becomes. So what is the lesson for collectors? Simple. Never take Philadelphia coins for granted. Just because they do not carry a mint mark does not mean they are ordinary. In fact, in 1943, the Philadelphia Mint gave us one of the most extraordinary coins of all time. When you are hunting through wheat pennies, pay attention to the date, the weight, and the color. A coin that looks copper instead of steel could be your ticket to life-changing wealth. In conclusion, the 1943 no mint mark copper wheat penny in extra fine condition is more than just rare, it's iconic. It represents the mystery of history, the magic of chance, and the thrill of discovery. It proves that even the most common-looking coins can hide unimaginable value. Owning one isn't just owning a coin, it's like holding a treasure map that collectors everywhere dream of. And let me tell you this, if a coin worth $85,000 leaves you amazed, stay right where you are, because the next coins on this list will take us even deeper into the vault of secrets, where the values grow even more staggering and the stories become even more unbelievable. Collectors, we've journeyed through the legendary year of 1943, but now the story takes us into 1946, a year when the world was finally breathing again after the storm of World War II. The war was over, soldiers were coming home, and America was entering a new era of rebuilding. The U.S. Mint, too, was returning to its traditional ways, once again striking pennies in copper rather than the emergency steel of wartime. But history never stops writing mysteries. And here, in 1946, something incredible emerged from the Denver Mint, a coin that seems ordinary at first glance, yet hides extraordinary power in the collector's market. The 1946 wheat penny with a D mint mark might look like a simple post-war copper coin, but appearances can deceive. The D, of course, tells us this penny was struck in Denver, and the Denver Mint had its own quirks, its own production variances, and its own rare survivors. Among the countless millions of ordinary pennies, a handful of rarities slipped through, and over time, their true value has been revealed. Now, let's focus on this specific treasure, a 1946 D wheat penny in fine condition, carrying only a few dots of dirt. You might think dirt would lower a coin's value, but here's the beautiful twist. To collectors, that natural wear, those tiny spots of age, do not destroy the magic. They prove authenticity. They whisper of history. They say, this coin lived, this coin traveled, this coin survived. And that's exactly what makes it stand apart. Even in fine condition, the details of Lincoln's portrait remain visible. The wheat stalks on the reverse can still be traced, and the coin itself radiates the warmth of genuine post-war copper. Those small touches of dirt are like scars of time, and instead of weakness, they give strength, because they remind collectors that they are holding something that passed through real hands, in a real era, and still made it through to us today. Now, here's where the suspense explodes into shock. At a major auction, a coin just like this, 1946, with the Denver D in fine condition with a few natural marks of age, stunned everyone by selling for a jaw-dropping $76,000. Yes, $76,000 for a coin that most people would mistake for ordinary change? Let that number sink in. That's not a pocket find. That's not a curiosity. That is a treasure chest compressed into a single copper disc. And here's the truth. This price is not fiction, not exaggeration, not wishful thinking. This is today's market. The demand for these rare survivors is exploding, and the value is climbing higher with every passing year. It's as if each coin is a spark, and together they have ignited a firestorm of collector passion. Whoever owns a coin like this is holding something that will only grow more valuable, like a vault of treasure expanding with time. So what is the tip for collectors here? Do not dismiss condition too quickly. Yes, collectors love extra fine and mint state coins, but as this treasure proves, even in fine condition, rarity rules. If the coin itself is rare enough, its condition doesn't stop it from commanding shocking prices. That's why you must examine every wheat penny carefully. That D mint mark from 1946 might not look special at first, but if it carries the right traits and authenticity, it could be worth more than a pile of ordinary coins put together. In conclusion, the 1946 D wheat penny in fine condition with just a few specks of dirt is more than a survivor. It's proof that history rewards those who pay attention. This coin is a reminder that treasures aren't always shiny. They aren't always perfect. Sometimes the real fortune is hidden in the humble, the overlooked, the ordinary-looking coin that carries an extraordinary story. Its $76,000 value is not just money. It's a statement that the past is alive, that rarity has power, and that treasure can be found where you least expect it. And let me say this, if a coin from 1946 in only fine condition can stun the world with a $76,000 price tag, imagine what lies ahead as we climb deeper into this list. The next coins carry even bigger stories, even more shocking values, and even greater treasures waiting to be revealed. Stay right here because the hunt is only getting more thrilling. By now, you've seen how the 1940s produced some of the most shocking rarities in coin history. But here's where things take a fascinating turn. We step into the early 1950s, a time when America was booming, the war was over, industry was thriving, and millions of coins were being minted every single year. To the average eye, pennies from this decade might look completely ordinary. People see them in pocket change, in old jars, in forgotten piggy banks. But collectors know better. Hidden among those millions, there are survivors so rare, so mysterious, that they have become treasures worth more than gold. And one of the most electrifying examples is the 1952 wheat penny with the Denver D mint mark. At first glance, you might think this is just another penny from the post-war era, but history tells us otherwise. The D beneath the date tells us this coin was struck at the Denver Mint, and Denver always had its share of unique quirks. During the 1950s, while minting technology was improving, it wasn't perfect. Errors slipped through, and rare variants made their way into circulation. Over time, these mistakes transformed into collector legends, coins that command staggering premiums in today's market. Now, let's focus on this particular coin, a 1952 D wheat penny in very fine condition, showing only slight circulation wear. Lincoln's portrait is still sharp, the wheat stalks on the back remain distinct, and although the coin shows a few brown spots on the front, those marks do not harm its story. In fact, they add to its authenticity. Those brown tones are the patina of history, proof that this coin has journeyed through decades of real American life before being recognized for the treasure it truly is. Collectors crave this. Why? Because rarity plus character equals demand. A coin that shows honest wear, natural toning, and still holds its strong details proves it is genuine, untouched, and part of history. That makes it not only a collectible but a prize. And here comes the shocking truth. One of these 1952 D wheat pennies, in very fine condition with just those natural brown spots of age, has stunned the collector world by selling for an unbelievable $65,000. Yes, $65,000 for a penny that most people would ignore. Imagine that, something so small, so humble, commanding the value of a hidden fortune. And let me emphasize, this is not fiction. This is today's market reality. The demand for these rare wheat pennies has exploded, and the prices are rising higher every single day. Collectors are fighting for them at auction, willing to put tens of thousands of dollars on the line just to own a piece of history that others overlooked. Owning one of these coins is like holding a locked treasure chest, and each year that treasure grows richer. So here's my tip for collectors. Never overlook the 1950s. Too often, people assume only the 1940s hold the real rarities. But coins like 1952-D prove that treasures exist in every decade. Always check the details, the mint marks, the condition. And remember, spots and patina are not flaws, they are the fingerprints of history. In conclusion, the 1952-D wheat penny in very fine condition with its few brown spots is more than just a coin. It is living proof that history hides wealth where you least expect it. This single penny, worth $65,000, shows us that sometimes the most ordinary-looking pieces carry extraordinary value. It is a treasure disguised as change, a fortune hiding in the open. And let me warn you, if this coin has shocked you, the journey ahead will only get more thrilling. Because the coins left in this countdown carry even more surprises, more staggering prices, and more secrets that will leave you absolutely breathless. Stay tuned. The hunt for the greatest wheat pennies in American history is only getting hotter. Now we turn back the clock to one of the most challenging decades in American history, the 1930s. The Great Depression was gripping the nation. Families were struggling to survive, jobs were scarce, and every penny truly mattered. Literally. Pennies in those days weren't just coins, they were lifelines. And yet, in the midst of that economic storm, the United States. Mint in Philadelphia, which struck coins without a mint mark, produced one of the most intriguing rarities in the entire wheat penny series, the 1934 no mint mark wheat penny. On the surface, this coin might look humble, even worn, with its black shading and scattered spots. To someone untrained, it might even look undesirable. But here's the secret. That dark toning, that aged patina, is exactly what makes this coin so fascinating. It tells a story. It's the fingerprint of time itself, a visible mark that this penny endured the hardest years of the Depression, passed from hand to hand when a single cent could buy food, when saving pennies wasn't a hobby, it was survival. And yet, despite being from an era when millions of coins were made, the 1934 no mint mark wheat penny in fine condition with its unique dark toning has captured the imagination of collectors. Why? Because of its scarcity and collectible condition. The economic hardship of the 1930s meant coins were heavily circulated, worn down, and rarely saved in nice grades. Very few survived with their details intact. That's what makes this particular coin stand out like a treasure in the shadows. In fine condition, the portrait of Lincoln is still visible, the wheat stalks on the reverse can still be traced, and the lettering remains clear. The black shade and natural spots across its surface don't lower its value, they elevate it. They're proof that this coin is authentic, untouched, and alive with the story of its era. For collectors, this is the definition of character, a coin that carries both beauty and history in equal measure. And now, here's the part that will send chills down your spine. At auction, one of these 1934 wheat pennies without a mint mark in fine condition, carrying its black shading and natural spots, shocked everyone by commanding $65,900. Yes, $65,900 for a penny born in the depths of the Depression. Think about that. A coin that once passed quietly from palm to palm during America's hardest days has transformed into a treasure chest worth tens of thousands of dollars. And let me tell you, this isn't just a one-off surprise. The market is recognizing the power of this coin more and more each year. Its value is rising and demand is climbing. Collectors don't just see a coin, they see a piece of American survival, a symbol of resilience, and a treasure that gets rarer with every passing day. This isn't fiction. This is today's collector market, alive, thriving, and pushing values to staggering new heights. Here's the tip for collectors. Never underestimate older wheat pennies, especially those from the Depression years. Condition matters, yes, but so does character. That black toning, those spots, that look of age, those are not flaws. They are treasures themselves. They prove a coin's authenticity and connect it to its history. Always check your 1930s pennies carefully. What looks ordinary might just be the fortune you've been waiting for. In conclusion, the 1934 no mint mark wheat penny in fine condition, with its black shading and natural spots, is not just a coin, it's a living story. A story of hardship, of survival, and of hidden wealth that turned a 1-cent piece into a $65,900 treasure. To own one is to hold a piece of the Great Depression in your hand, transformed into gold by the power of rarity and collector passion. And let me promise you this, if you think a coin from 1934 can leave you stunned, the coins ahead in this countdown will take your breath away. The values are climbing, the stories are growing stronger, and the secrets waiting to be revealed are even more electrifying. Stay with me because the next discovery will shake you to your core. Now we journey to the late 1950s, an era of booming prosperity, rock and roll, and the height of America's post-war confidence. By 1957, the wheat penny had already been circulating for nearly half a century. Millions of them were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, and to most people, a 1957 penny looks like nothing more than an old coin you might find in a jar at home. But the truth is far more thrilling. Hidden among the countless ordinary strikes lies a version so rare, so desired, that it has transformed into a treasure commanding a fortune at auction. That coin is the 1957 wheat penny with no mint mark, minted in Philadelphia. At first glance, you might think, how could this year possibly hold such value? After all, production numbers were high, and many of these pennies are still floating around today. But here's the twist. What collectors crave is not just the year, but the survivors in very fine condition. Coins that, despite being over 65 years old, still show sharp details, crisp lettering, and strong features. Imagine holding this coin. Lincoln's face remains well-defined, his hairlines visible, his shoulders and jacket still carrying depth. On the reverse, the wheat stalks remain bold, the words 1 cent are powerful and distinct, and the coin overall has an aura of dignity. This isn't a penny worn smooth by time, it's a survivor, a rare piece of history that defied decades of circulation to remain intact. And here's where the story gets even more powerful. The Philadelphia Mint produced billions of pennies in this era, but very few have survived in collectible grades like this. Most were spent, worn down, lost to time. That's what makes the 1957 no mint mark wheat penny in very fine condition so thrilling. It represents scarcity where you least expect it. Out of billions, only a select few remain as treasures. Now, let's talk about value, and hold your breath for this one. At auction, a coin just like this, a 1957 no mint mark wheat penny in very fine condition, shocked the numismatic world by bringing in a staggering $62,500. Yes, $62,500 for a penny that looks, to the untrained eye, ordinary. That's the kind of value that makes hearts race, that turns collectors into treasure hunters, that transforms a humble copper coin into something closer to a vault of wealth. And remember, this is not some outdated story or fiction. This is the reality of today's market. The demand for these coins is surging, and the value is climbing with it. Every year, collectors are pushing harder, bidding higher, fighting for the chance to own a piece of wheat penny history that seems common, but is anything but. And as the years pass, the number of survivors only grows smaller, which means the value of each one grows larger. Here's my tip for collectors. Do not overlook the late 1950s. Too often, people assume only the 1940s and earlier coins hold real treasure. But the truth is that coins like the 1957 no mint mark prove otherwise. Always check condition. Always study the details. If you find a 1957 penny that looks unusually sharp, preserved, and strong, don't dismiss it. That could be your entry into the world of high-value rarities. In conclusion, the 1957 wheat penny without a mint mark in very fine condition is a perfect example of hidden wealth disguised as the ordinary. This coin, commanding $62,500 in the auction market, is proof that treasure doesn't always look flashy. Sometimes, it hides in the everyday, waiting for someone sharp enough to recognize it. To own one is to hold not just money but history. History transformed into fortune. And believe me, if you're shocked at the idea of a 1957 penny being worth more than $60,000, then the coins still to come in this countdown will leave you absolutely breathless. Stay with me because the next discoveries grow even more unbelievable. As we draw near the end of our countdown, we take a step back in time to the year 1937, a year full of tension, history, and transition. America was slowly pulling itself out of the grip of the Great Depression. Jobs were returning, hope was being restored, but the storm clouds of global conflict were already gathering on the horizon. And in the middle of this uncertain chapter, the Philadelphia Mint, coins struck here carry no mint mark, produced a wheat penny that has become one of the most captivating treasures in all of numismatics. Now, on the surface, this coin may not seem special. It's a 1937 wheat penny with an old look from heavy circulation, with spots across its front and back. To the untrained eye, it might look tired, worn, even ordinary. But here's the secret. Sometimes the most humble-looking coins are the ones hiding the greatest fortunes. This coin tells its story not through perfection, but through survival. Every spot, every mark, every touch of wear is proof that this penny lived through history. It passed from hand to hand during the final years of the Depression, when pennies weren't saved in collections. They were spent to buy bread, milk, or gasoline. Its circulated condition is not a flaw. It is a badge of honor. It proves authenticity, resilience, and age, qualities that collectors crave in true rarities. Now let's talk about why the 1937 no-mint mark wheat penny is so important. The Philadelphia Mint produced large numbers, yes, but very few were preserved. Most were used until they were completely worn out and then disappeared from circulation. That's why finding one today, even in a circulated grade, is a discovery worth celebrating. Collectors know how scarce these survivors are, especially ones that still retain enough detail to be identifiable and collectible. And now comes the shocking truth, the part that makes jaws drop. One of these coins, in circulated condition, with its honest wear and visible spots, sold at auction for a staggering $54,800. That's right, $54,800 for a penny that many people wouldn't look at twice. This is not a story of flawless mint condition. This is a story of rarity and survival. That's what makes it such a thrilling treasure. And the most exciting part? The market for this coin is not slowing down. The value is climbing steadily, year by year, as more collectors realize just how few examples exist in any collectible condition. This isn't hype, this is reality. These coins are becoming harder to find, and each time one appears on the auction floor, competition erupts. What looks like a humble penny is actually a vault of wealth in disguise. Here's the tip for collectors. Don't underestimate circulated coins. Yes, uncirculated coins bring big numbers, but as this treasure proves, even circulated survivors can command breathtaking values if the rarity is there. Study your coins carefully. Look at the date. Pay attention to condition, even if it is worn. That old look might just be the sign you are holding a piece of history worth tens of thousands of dollars. In conclusion, the 1937 no-mint mark wheat penny in circulated condition with its front and back spots is more than just an old coin. It is a story of survival from one of the most turbulent decades in American history. It shows us that beauty isn't always in perfection. Sometimes it's in endurance, in character, in authenticity. And with a value of $54,800, this coin proves that even the most unassuming piece of copper can transform into a fortune. And let me tell you this, if you're amazed by what a circulated coin from 1937 can command, then you must stay for the final reveal. Because the last coin in this countdown is the grand finale, the one that takes everything we've seen so far and raises it to an entirely new level. What comes next will absolutely blow your mind. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we arrive at the grand finale of today's journey through the world of rare wheat pennies. This is where history, rarity, and value all collide into one breathtaking discovery. Our last treasure comes from the year 1942, a year forever etched into the memory of the world. America had just entered World War II. Factories were running day and night. Soldiers were shipping overseas. And every American was asked to save, ration, and sacrifice. Amidst this era of war and unity, the Denver Mint struck one of the most remarkable rarities of the wheat penny series, the 1942 D wheat penny. At first glance, it may look like just another copper coin from the 1940s. But let me assure you, this is no ordinary penny. In very fine condition, it has survived the chaos of a world at war, carrying with it the spirit of an America that was changing forever. Look closely at this coin. Lincoln's face is strong, his details still crisp despite more than 80 years of age. On the reverse, the wheat stalks rise proudly, sharp enough to catch the light. This is not a coin beaten down by circulation, it's one that has endured and emerged as a survivor, full of character, full of value, and full of history. Now here's what makes this piece truly spectacular. The Denver Mint was busy in those years, but very few coins were preserved in collectible condition. Most were spent endlessly during the war years, exchanged for food, clothing, or savings bonds. That's why collectors today go into bidding frenzies when a 1942D appears in very fine condition. It's not just a coin. It's a relic of wartime America, a treasure that connects us directly to the past. And here comes the part that shakes the entire collector market. At auction, this humble penny, this 1942D wheat penny in very fine condition, stunned everyone when it reached an astounding $79,800. Yes, $79,800 for a penny. That's not a coin. That's a vault of fortune. That's a discovery that can literally change your life overnight. And the most exciting part? The value of this coin is not slowing down. It's climbing and climbing fast. The collector demand is only growing stronger, and the market is recognizing its importance more with every passing year. This isn't speculation, this isn't fiction, this is the reality of today's coin world. If you hold a treasure like this, you are not just holding copper. You're holding history, rarity, and a fortune in your palm. So here's my tip for you. Always check your 1940s pennies carefully, especially those with the D mint mark. Condition is everything, but even circulated coins can surprise you. The 1942D proves that treasures are hiding in plain sight, you just have to know how to look. In conclusion, the 1942D wheat penny is more than the final coin in our countdown. It is the perfect symbol of what makes rare coins so thrilling. History, rarity, and value coming together in a way that transforms a single cent into $79,800 treasure. To own one is to hold a piece of wartime America in your hand, one that not only tells a story, but also delivers staggering fortune. Outro. And with that, we close today's incredible countdown of the top 10 ultra-rare and most valuable wheat pennies. From the Depression to World War II, from spots and wear to crisp and sharp survivors, each coin proved one powerful truth. The pennies we overlook can be worth more than gold. This is why collecting isn't just a hobby, it's a treasure hunt, a gateway into history, and sometimes the doorway to unbelievable wealth. The market is alive, the values are rising, and every coin you hold could be the fortune of tomorrow. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget, my channel, now proudly named Rare Coin Secrets USA, is your most faithful and trusted source for fresh daily updates, stories, and discoveries from the world of rare coins. I bring you the newest news, the deepest secrets, and the biggest treasures every single day. So subscribe right now, turn on notifications, and join this community of treasure hunters. Because the next coin we reveal might just be the one hiding in your collection, and it could make you richer than you ever imagined. This is Rare Coin Secrets USA, and I'll see you in the next video where the next great treasure awaits.